Have you ever told yourself that you are not enough, living under some kind of idea that you yourself are nothing short of an imposter or undeserving of a certain notion or success? Is it that you, more often than not, are filled with negative, self-destructive thoughts like, who am I to be happy? If people really knew me, they'd leave, or nothing I do matters anyway. Maybe you tell yourself these things because you fear failure, or because you assume that rejection and failure are inevitable in the first place, so you preemptively reject yourself to avoid pain. This is significantly more common than you expect. So to figure out the problem, we first need to start looking at its cause. I'll make an example. Somewhere around summer, I had my first meeting with a psychologist. Initially because of ADHD, though that we changed focus because it didn't really mean that much to me at the time. There, she gave me a couple of pointers and mental habits that I should monitor and regulate. I only stayed keenly aware of two of these, while the other damaging trait I possessed, I quickly discarded. It was not until early February that this trait manifested yet again, stronger than ever before. You see, I tried to get over a particular feeling by lowering my expectations completely. I asked somebody an important question and briefly, I got a type of reaction and response I had hoped for, but not expected at all. Normally, a response like that would probably cause a lot of joy, but not at this time. It was a self-destructive progress where I sabotaged myself by keeping my expectations so astronomically low that I can stay in check of my emotions. So in response, this success didn't mean anything. So where are you holding yourself back as much as I have in these situations? If you have a familiar situation, pause the video and take a moment to think about a similar situation in the past. So in these situations, were we being nice to ourselves by doing that? Probably not. Although we certainly meant well, this kind of subconscious defense mechanism is something in our mind that's just deeply etched that we kind of do automatically almost. It exists because of this inherent fear of rejection. A job interview, high expectations in sports or school, getting rejected by your crush are just some of the examples that come to mind. Going back to what my psychiatrist told me, she told me I should be a better friend to myself, because if I'm the player of my own games, I shouldn't diligently self-sabotage myself. But that's easier said than done. I didn't really take that advice too hard at the beginning. Amidst my research, I went back to my journal and looked up August 13th last year. Here's some that I wrote. Lastly was to, as she put it, be a better friend to yourself, or don't pull where the grass doesn't grow. A big factor from that is the expectations I put on myself, which create a kind of invisible burden that deplete me emotionally over time. Why is this important? Would you tell your best friend that he isn't worth anything? No, of course not. But then why should you tell yourself the same thing? Here's how to fix it. So what we have here is somewhat of a gaping hole. Something that's missing. But what? It's not going to be something unhealthy or self-destructive that numbs our minds to the pain, like excessive amounts of video games, alcohol, or venting to our friends and family about it. So while it does help to talk to others about your problems, it also reinforces your negative thinking and pushes these people kind of away almost. To get out of a rut like this, you need to do it on your own. But not to worry, because I found the right ingredient, that doing something that comes natural to you. Something that fosters your mindset. A big part in trying to fix this issue for me was by reaffirming my values and goals. At the same time, I was just busy and spent less time editing videos or doing sports. And when I did, I constantly had something else in mind. So what does make an activity healthy? To me, it was evident from the start. I prioritize my time away from uni to be exclusively about learning new filmmaking skills, skiing, which, if you know me, I've done quite a bit of in my life, and of course, exercise. Sometimes with friends, other times alone. But I quit talking about my problems automatically, and eventually the relationship I have with myself went back to being more positive. So I had more energy in the mornings and I woke up with a newfound sense of purpose. To me, they were a form of self-validation. So it is self-validation that would consist of sentences like, I deserve happiness just like anyone else. I am worthy of acceptance just the way I am. Or my actions have meaning and impact. I looked at something Lukas Klaschinski, a well-known German psychologist, said about toxic optimism. You know, the kind of where your friend looks at a bad situation and goes, oh my god, all is so good, I am so happy. Healthy optimists approach problems much more rationally. To them, they are simply solvable. But they're also more creative as they are open to new paths and possibilities. So I'm saying this because if you're looking to get out of this present mindset to be more of a better friend to yourself and find this self-validation within one or more healthy activities, you need to identify an activity like it in the first place. You need to believe that it's somewhere out there, but it'll be up to you to take the first steps. For that, we must identify our key bad habits. Then, knowing our bad habits, we look at our positive habits. But habits develop entirely through repetition. Never smoking is much better and easier than quitting it. So almost saying to your friend that they should simply quit smoking is always undermining it, because it's so much easier to not start it than quitting it. It's like a parent instilling into their child that proper time management from an early age will less likely lead to them developing a habit of always being late. There are 3 simple steps that I thought of that probably are going to help in overcoming these problems. First, we want to become conscious of the problem. So I take notes or consult a trusted person and see if they have noticed this kind of behavior with you. Talking about it helps in general, but it took my parents a great deal of patience, so don't, as I said, talk too much about it. Secondly is to notice the triggers or environment. Start by writing down what the triggers might be, and then remember that no word that you actually write, especially by hand, is wasted. It's all part of a unique thought process that will lead you to the root cause of your problem. Sometimes it can be hard, but I encourage you to just keep looking. I mean, it took me more than half a year to actually figure it out. So find a substitute, so like an alternative that is healthier for you as a third step. What is giving me a lot of motivation right now is to go to the gym rather than sitting around and playing video games or wasting time on social media. It's by knowing that it'll make me feel much more satisfied and motivated for other work. This sounds really simple, but finding a good substitute or reward mechanism for abstaining from these activities is the quickest way. You might cycle through these steps, but eventually build cognitive awareness. So consider building a replacement habit from scratch. If you don't have existing alternatives at your disposal, stay open-minded when looking for new ones. Video editing and recording became a productive alternative for me, as I had previously used my devices mostly for social media or playing games. If you need more on building healthy habits, the book Atomic Habits is probably the greatest tool for becoming conscious and using psychological tools to methodically figure out how to feel happier and more productive. Phew. It's probably like the 5th time I've mentioned this book in my video, but that's just how good it is. So to sum it all up, to feel a healthier connection to yourself, you need to introduce one or more healthy and self-validating activities. Notice your previous negative habits and replace them with these alternatives. It will require a certain amount of willpower depending on the scale and time these negative habits have had time to develop. In my experience, once you get things in motion, your previous worries, feelings of self-doubt kind of just disappear. And sometimes you just need to give it some time. I look ahead of things using a 10-year rule more often than not. In 1 week, will this problem remain? Yeah. What about a month? A year? Some problems don't scale very high in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not worried about how my exams went a month from now, even if I didn't end up passing them at all. But hey, I'm just enjoying the weather. Yeah, okay, never mind, but with these things in mind, I hope I was able to impart some helpful knowledge to you by creating a brief yet hopefully powerful message. These things don't always come naturally to you, so try to fight through the adversity and find what works best for you. Never forget, be kind to yourself. Don't think that everything bad that's happened is always your fault. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, sharing, and liking the video. And I hope you're gonna have a wonderful day.